You remember in the beginning of the season when you said the Vikings were going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Starting to believe you.
All right, and today we have the power rankings. So, everybody wants to know, where you get the Dolphins at?
Oh, you want to skip all the way down to the Dolphins? I have them at 6 because they're the best team in the league, but they don't have the most important part.
The best team at 6. I mean, yeah, that's a shame too going down because they were the best team up until that point.
And I think a lot of people were really trying to just dump on Tua. Like, oh, they need to do this and they need to get a quarterback over here. And then they really quickly, everybody was abandoning Tua. And then he comes out just dominating the league.
Yeah.
As a quarterback.
Yeah, I wasn't a big believer in him. I didn't believe in that offense because he was the quarterback and he kind of proved me wrong. I'm starting to like him. And then this happens and
he turns into Forrest Gump for 35 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got him all the way down at 9. So they were my number 1 though.
Let's start from the beginning, though, this time. I have the Chiefs at 1 because how can you not?
I mean, I don't have them at 1. I have the Eagles at 1.
They have the easiest strength of schedule remaining. And they're 3-1. They have beat the Chargers. They beat Tampa Bay. It's not been easy. I mean, it's not been difficult for them. But I think that's kind of what you're assessing. The power ranking, yeah. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league because they don't have to play
one of the best teams. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles haven't played as hard of a schedule as them. But, I mean, it's not exactly pushovers. It's not the worst teams in the football that they're playing against. You know, a little better than that. But the Eagles haven't shown that much weakness. I mean, there has been a little bit with the close games, but they look solid all around.
Yeah, I like the Eagles, and obviously they're undefeated. My only gripe with the Eagles is they haven't really beat anybody hard, and that to me makes it difficult for me to trust them for the next 14 weeks or so. I need to see more. They beat Detroit, they beat Minnesota. That was a solid win.
I consider Minnesota a solid win.
That's a solid win. Washington, Jacksonville. I have them 3rd. So it's not like I hate the Eagles. They could easily be up there.
Yeah.
Just want to see a little bit more, and just strength of schedule alone is going to overtake the Chiefs.
I get that. But I got the Chiefs at 2, and then at 3, I got the Rams.
I get the Rams down at 5. I'm a little hard on the Rams because I'm very analytical at heart, and they haven't played this week. So I'm kind of...
Yeah, it's hard. Same with the Niners. I probably have them a little bit higher, but I think they're a better team with Garoppolo.
Yeah, I have the Bills at 2.
Yeah, the Bills are a good team. It's nice to see them come from behind and beat the Ravens, who, I mean, they are a good team, and they held them to only 20 points, which is pretty good.
Yeah, their interior offensive line is thin and shaky, and up the middle blitzes really can get through. But their defense is solid. Their offense is obviously solid. Yeah. I don't worry about them too much, although the Dolphins beat them, and I think they could beat them 5 times out of 6. Like,
I don't think they can now. I think with Tua, which they did beat them with Tua, is the way that they beat them, but not with Tua anymore. They can't beat them anymore.
Yeah, that's the big argument. I really liked the Dolphins and how the team was constructed and how they were playing offense, but you lose Tua, and they fell. And because they fell, a lot of these teams got moved up. Yeah. So Chiefs, Bills, Eagles. I have Vikings at 4.
I got the Vikings at 5.
I have the Rams at 5. I could flip-flop those depending on how the Rams play today, but I like the Vikings more and more every day.
Yeah, they're a team that a lot of people didn't even want to talk about in the discussion to make the playoffs because they have the conception that they were just bad for so long that they're not going to do it because of Kirk Cousins. And they might not win a Super Bowl because of Cousins, but they're definitely in contention because of that team.
Yeah, well, they're pretty solid all around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see too many problems with that team.
It's all Cousins.
So where are we at now?
I'm at 6. So it's 6 behind the Vikings. I got the Packers.
Packers, I have at 8. I have the Dolphins at 6.
I mean, Packers, they got a solid defense and it's young. It's been getting better. The offense with Aaron Rodgers is going to be good, no matter who they have back there.
Yeah, I like the Packers. I just like the Chargers better. I think they have more potential. They're not consistent.
They're not consistent. I have them all the way down to 11, but they're still a good team, especially with Herbert, who's really proven himself.
Yeah, my power rankings are teams' ability to win right now. I think I have more faith in the Chargers figuring things out than the Packers keeping up, because I feel like they've kind of gotten lucky a little bit during the season.
Maybe, but
any of these teams in the top, 10 are really close. I mean, first, second, third, fourth, okay, they're on a tier of their own, but 5 through 10, you could move 10 to 5 and 5 to 10, in my opinion. Right after the Packers, I have the Buccaneers. Now, Buccaneers at 9 are a little surprising to some people. I've been kind of saying it for a while, but it's all Tom Brady. Tom Brady is that offense, and he looks slow, and that offense is struggling.
Well, that offense is struggling. I don't think they've been able to really work as one this whole season, because, I mean, Godwin's been in and out. Evans got suspended, and Julio's been in and out. The running back, I mean, Fournette's been on and off this whole season. I mean, they just haven't gotten it together yet, which is fine, because at the end of the season, the Bucs are going to have it together. That's just how they're built.
That's usually how it happens. Fournette's always been on and off his whole career. I don't know if they can do it this year. I have them at 9 because I have faith that they will get it done. But I could easily see the Buccaneers just fall apart. I mean, it is a new a new head coach.
It is. Yeah, I mean,
I could see the team just falling off the map and just not even making the playoffs, because they have not looked like they did last year.
Not at this point.
Not at any point.
No. Well, I mean, last year, early in the season, they looked better than they do now. They're on a slower start than they were last year.
Yeah, I like the Buccaneers. They beat Dallas. They beat the Saints, but they lost to the Packers. They lost to Kansas City. They lost to good teams. Second-ranked defense is good, but Tom Brady's slow. I don't know. I have them here out of respect and the belief that they could do it again. They just don't look like the same team. But moving on to 10. To round out my top 10, I have the Cowboys. Now,
I got the Cowboys at 8.
I don't know. They've been doing really well with Rush.
They have been. I mean, you go and Rush has played against Cincinnati, the Giants, and Washington. Yeah, he won all 3 of those games. And I think Dallas is a good team, which has helped him a lot. But Rush has stepped up to help them win. But you go to Prescott, and he had one loss, and it was to the Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a good team, and they took him to the limit on that game. So I think even when Prescott comes back, they're just as good of a team, if not better.
Yeah, well, they're definitely going to be better with Prescott.
I don't know, with Jerry Jones talking about quarterback competition.
Well, Jerry Jones knows how to get the most out of his players, and a lot of that is talk, in my opinion. But the top 10 is solid teams. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're all really vulnerable to getting replaced. I think the next 10 teams is where you're going to see surprises by the end of the season. This is where the battle's going to be won and lost. Starting that spiel, I have the Broncos at 11. Now,
I got them at 13.
So you somewhat agree. The Broncos are not playing up to their potential. I don't know if they're going to get there this year, but they should get things rolling. Russell Wilson should get on the same page. Like, it's their offense that's struggling. They're 28th in the league in offense. That defense is doing what we said they should do. We were worried about their defense not playing up to their potential. Their defense is 6th in the league. Mm-hmm. 6th in the league is solid. Mm-hmm. But they got to beat teams better than Houston.
Yeah, they got to beat the Raiders. I mean, nothing against the Raiders, but they should be able to beat them.
Yeah, so I would be very quick to have the Broncos start dropping down this list if they can't put it together relatively soon.
It doesn't help that they lost Javonte Williams for the season with a torn ACL.
Yeah, that definitely hurts.
Yeah.
12 at the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals. I don't quite know how good they are because the only teams they lost to are top 5 teams. Kansas City and the Rams.
I think they're getting better. Kyler Murray, he's really starting to come into form and be an elite quarterback that everyone thinks he can be.
Yeah, I mean, as early as next week, I could see the Cardinals going up past the Buccaneers and being a top 10 team. Right now, they're just outside at 12. But, they're playing pretty well. I mean, considering the competition. Yeah, they have the last ranked defense. But the Rams and Kansas City this early in the season will skew those numbers. I don't think they're accurate numbers. We need a couple more weeks to get real rankings for those. Who do you have at 12?
I got the Cardinals. That's one of the ones that we actually agree on.
We're dead even on the Cardinals. Let's round out the 15. I got the Jaguars, the Niners, and the Seahawks.
At 15, I got Broncos, Niners, Jags.
So the only discrepancy here is the Seahawks.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks down at 20.
Oh, really?
I do. I mean, Geno he has been playing. He hasn't played as good as the game against the Broncos, but he has been playing well. He's been better than Russell Wilson this whole season.
Yeah, well, I called it preseason. I said Geno was good. I said he's way better than people think. Everybody's down on him. I think he's a solid quarterback. Yeah. I think the Seahawks are what they are. Last season, this season, 2 seasons ago, they're a good offense and a terrible defense. I don't know if the Seahawks can make the playoffs, but they're going to be a top 5 offense. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to be fancy gold, and they're going to lose a lot of games because their defense is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Lions in that sense. I mean, their defense is probably, I would say, better than the Seahawks, and their offense is better, but they're going to end up losing a lot of games just because they can't get over that hump.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Niners, I like the Niners, but I don't really know, other than the Seahawks, I don't really know who they beat. They have a game to play today, so they're here kind of waiting to see how things transpire. We're both pretty close on the Jaguars. Why do you have the Jaguars here? Because I don't know if they deserve to be here yet.
Well, I think they kind of do. I think this is right about where they're at. Because this week 4 against Philly, this is what really pushed me to vote them about middle pack team. They were able to take it to the Eagles the entire way down, and they did make a couple errors, but that's just the Jags. They're going to make those errors. They're not there yet, but they're able to go and show up to a game against the number 1 team in the NFL and play good.
But yeah, the Jaguars, they beat the Chargers, and Indy I'm indifferent about, because I don't know if Indy's this bad, or there's these teams that came out of nowhere that are really good, like the Jaguars. Quarterback play was much better this year.
Mm-hmm. They got James Robinson right now healthy, and he's doing pretty good. ETN did kind of take over some work in that week 4 matchup, but I'm still right on Robinson.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars are a perfect person to do what the Bengals did last year. Just kind of come out of nowhere and just be a good team.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of the top 15. Now, I'm going to get hate for this, and I don't care, because I've been saying this for 2 years, and I don't know what people are really hoping for, but the Ravens are outside the top 15. The fact that they're 16, I think, is generous. They're generous. The Jets almost beat the Ravens. The Patriots almost beat the Ravens. Yeah. Miami and Buffalo. Now, Miami with Tua and Buffalo's a good team. They both already beat the Ravens, but they could very well be 0-4 right now.
Yeah, Miami barely beat the Ravens, though, I will say that.
Yeah.
And they probably should have won against Buffalo. Buffalo just actually showed up to a game to come from behind and win, which, I never saw coming.
Well, okay, but they're bad closers unless they're against the Jets.
They kind of are bad closers.
The Jets
right now.
almost beat, and they should have beat them.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't put them this low, because their offense is a great offense, and they still have a good defense.
Well, they're 15th and 16th ranked offense and defense. Now, I understand a lot of things and a lot of like for the Ravens, but you have a quarterback, and I'm going to say it again, who can't throw the ball consistent enough to win a game if they're down. They have a great running attack that eats the clock. They can get ahead with their defense, and then they win the game on statistics and analytics. And I get that. It's a good team. It's just they're 16th, and that's generous. And people
I wouldn't call it generous.
I think it's generous. They could make the playoffs. I can see them making the playoffs, but they're never going to win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson.
I don't see them win a Super Bowl, but they're definitely a playoff team. At 16, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, they beat the Jets. They did beat the Dolphins, but that was without Tua for 3 quarters. So it's kind of hard to evaluate that. I still think Dolphins are a good team. They lost to Pittsburgh, which isn't great. That was a division game, but still it's Pittsburgh. They're one of the worst teams in the league. And then Dallas, who, I mean, with Cooper Rush has been showing up. So I think the Bengals just kind of need to figure something out. I think they'll get back to where they were. They're better than where they are now.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's their offense that's been struggling.
Yeah.
Their defense is solid. I think I have the Bengals at 21.
Okay.
I think they could very easily move up this board. They're just really inconsistent. Burrow has not had a good time behind that offensive line. That offensive line's really getting pushed over.
They talked a lot about improving that line on the offseason. They haven't really done anything to show for it.
Now, they beat the Jets, but the Jets beat Pittsburgh, and they beat Pittsburgh. So I think they're about where the Jets are. That's why I have them to 21. I have the Jets lower than that. Obviously, I don't think the Jets are a great team, but they could move up this board. At 2-2, they're not out of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to put them that low yet. I think they're just having some trouble, and they'll get there eventually.
Yeah. At 17, I have the Falcons. I have the Atlanta Falcons at 17.
I got them at 18.
I think the Falcons are a good team. I really don't have any real reason to plant a flag on and say they're good here. Mm-mm. They shouldn't be a good team.
No.
But they don't look sloppy. They look like they got everything together. Yeah. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Browns. They lost to the Rams and the Saints, but they weren't bad losses. Yeah. Like, this is not the Falcons team we remember that they lose by 40 points. Like, they're in it.
Yeah. This is a team that I thought preseason was one of the worst teams in the league. And after 4 weeks, they're not one of the worst.
Now, if you remember the beginning of last season, I said I like what the Dolphins were doing. And if they can find a quarterback, they're a really good team. Okay? They found a quarterback. They became a really good team. I have the exact same vibes with the Falcons. If they get their future quarterback.
That's a big what if.
Yes. But the rest of that team gels. They're not super old. Like, they're rebuilding it pretty good. I like the Falcons. They're 8th on offense. They're 10th on defense. They're 2-2. I think 17, putting them under the Ravens is a smack in the face. Personally, they're my rankings. I just couldn't go on emotion.
I mean, at 17, that's where I got the Detroit Lions. It's a team that is surprising everybody right now. Even at 1-3, they could be a 4-0 team. It's that close in every single game. Their offense is, I mean, they're putting up points left and right. It's a fantasy gold mine. Their defense is doing enough to keep them in it. But with the injuries to Amon-Ra and DeAndre Swift, it's kind of hard for them to keep going. But even this week in week 4, without them both, they still did pretty good. Yeah, they didn't come away with the win, but they put up over 40 points.
I like the Lions. They're way better than I thought they were. Now, I am a little bit biased because we have a bet on the board, and I don't want to give away any of my jerseys. Our bet is that the Lions are over and under 8 wins. I have the Lions at 22. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I just feel it. Because, I mean, the Lions have played well, and they're 1-3, but the teams they lost to, Minnesota, we have in the top 5. Philadelphia, who we have in the top 5, like, those are top teams in the league.
Yeah, and they were right there at the end of the game on all of them.
But if they had a schedule like the Giants, then maybe we're talking about an undefeated team.
Yeah, that's a completely different situation. I mean, you go Tennessee, Carolina, Chicago. I think Detroit is more than capable of beating every single one of those teams.
I concur.
Yeah.
Let's round out the top 20. I have the Giants at 18, and I think mainly that's their schedule. They're
overperforming right now. It's because of that schedule.
I think a lot of people didn't expect Saquon to be good since it's been so long since he's played.
Yeah.
And he's just doing Saquon things, and it's putting him in all these games. But
I mean, you go Galladay, he got hurt this week, and then you have Daniel Jones, who he's hurt this week with the foot and ankle. So it makes it even worse for the whole situation.
Yeah. I have the Browns at 19, the Titans at 20.
Okay. At 18, I got the Falcons, like I said. Then I got the Browns and the Seahawks.
You have the Seahawks 5 spots under mine, and the Ravens 6 spots over mine. So that's the biggest discrepancy, other than the Titans. You don't like the Titans.
I don't like the Titans. I mean, who have they really beaten? They beat the Vegas Raiders and then they beat the Indianapolis Colts. Colts aren't that good. Vegas, I don't think they're that good. And then they lost to the Giants and Buffalo. Buffalo's a good team, but the Giants are not a good team.
Well, they're 3-1. So that's why I have both of them right around here, because it's hard to evaluate what's a good win and what's a bad win when you have so many teams that were projected to do good that are doing bad, and bad teams that are projected to do bad doing good. It's hard to say that those bad teams are really bad, because they might have just played really good teams.
Yeah.
So this whole 15 to 20 range is just a lot of unknowns right now. I like the Titans. I think the Raiders are a good team. I think the Colts are a good team. I think those are 2 solid wins. I think the Giants are a good team, and I think Buffalo's a good team. And I think those 2 losses make sense, because I don't think the Titans are like Super Bowl caliber team, but I think they're a good middle of the pack team. I don't know about the Titans and the Giants. I have 18 and 20. You could flip them, you could flop them, you could squip them, you could squap them. I don't know what you want to do, but they're both right there. They're both average middle tier teams.
All right. So after 20, my 21 is New England Patriots.
Now, I want to make a note. After 20, because see, nowadays we live in a league where half the league goes to the playoffs, right? So outside of the 20, you suck.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
These teams are the bad teams.
These are teams I have the Giants at 22.
I have the Patriots at 23.
I don't think that you're a bad team just because you're in the 20s.
I have the Bengals at 21. I have the Lions at 22. I think they're bad teams. They're the start of my bad team list.
These are teams that can still make the playoffs.
Well,
it's too early to say, hey, these teams.
The season is young.
Suck.
This season is young. The Jets could very well make the playoffs.
They won't make the playoffs.
They could.
I'm not talking. No, they won't. I'll put however much money you want on that.
Well, these people are all at the same situation, and the Jets are right there among them.
It's not the same situation.
Well, we'll just have to wait till the Lions play the Patriots.
That's not fair.
That's. I have them 23 and 24 right next to each other.
I have the Lions already ahead of the Patriots.
I do too. 22.
Doesn't help that we have our quarterback out.
I think everything after 20 are teams that are struggling. They have a chance, a long shot Hail Mary throw to figure shit out because the season is young and they could become a good team. But statistically speaking, these are the bad teams. They won't make the playoffs. Maybe a few will be in the hunt of the wild card and won't make it, but they'll be acknowledged. Right, they'll be acknowledged on the TV screen to make those fans feel good, like me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's round out the top 25. For you, they are
Patriots, Giants, Raiders, Bears, Jets.
Okay, I have the Titans, the Bengals, the Lions, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Bears. And the Bears at 25.
I mean, I haven't flopped with the Jets. I think the Bears are a little bit better than the Jets, but they're right there.
They could be, and they are right there. I agree with that. I have the Jets than the Bears. So you have the Bears than the Jets. I think that's fair.
And then right under the Jets, going 26, I got the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I have the Colts a little bit further down. I think they're a better team than they are, but it's really hard to tell. They tied with Houston.
They did.
And
I mean, they got Matt Ryan. Everybody thought it was an improvement from Wentz, but I don't think it's an improvement right now.
I think the Titans are such a bad team that anybody who doesn't beat them is a bad team. And they didn't beat them. Now, I don't care if it's a tie. They didn't beat them. So I can't put the Colts over 29, which is where I have them. 29, that's generous. I think the Colts have just got too much problems at the moment. And I don't really know if they can fix them, because these are the same issues that have been plaguing the Colts for the last 2 to 3 years, and they have swapped people in and out. I think at this point, we need to start looking at the front office as being the issue, because the talent on the team is not. But as of right now, they're 1-2-1, and they're 29th in my book. And I think the Raiders are a good team. And
it's hard to tell. They should be better than what they are right now, but they
amount of distractions between actually living in Vegas, having this coach fiasco transpire, having just everything, moving from city to, it's just, they have too many distractions. I don't know what's going on, but they should, in my opinion, have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. And they just aren't.
Yeah. I mean, defense maybe, but offense absolutely.
Let's brush over the Saints real quick. I just want you to know what you think about the Saints, because I think their offense is solid. I think their defense is solid. I don't think they've played tough teams. They just seem to have really bad luck.
Kind of. I mean, Kamara, he didn't play. Winston, I think if Winston was fully healthy, that this would be a good team, a competitive team, but he's not fully healthy. Michael Thomas isn't fully healthy. The defense, I mean, I think has gotten a little bit worse. It's not terrible, but I think it's slowly getting worse and worse every year. And yeah.
Define good team. 8-8? Well, 9-8 now. Like that level or better?
I think they could be an 8 to 9 win team, but I don't think they'll get there.
All right, I want to touch really close on the Steelers because my boys beat them. I think the Steelers have a lot of room to grow. I do like the rookie. The rookie came in and gave him a spark. Now, I didn't think Trubisky was doing that bad. However, if you're in a game against the Jets and you start to see it slipping away, well, maybe you throw in the rookie to get some talent because your team's not very good. And there's really no point in running Trubisky. He's not the future. No. So let's just put the rookie in. Now, he had 2 interceptions, and both of those interceptions were BS. End a half, end a game. Hail Mary throws. Try to win the game. Totally respect it. I think the Steelers are better now with that rookie than Trubisky. Although like I said, I don't think Trubisky did bad.
I mean, time will tell, really. I don't think it's that much of a change. I mean, where do you have them?
I have the Steelers at 26.
See, that for me is high. I have them at 31.
Yeah.
They're the second worst team ahead of the Texans.
Yeah, I can't necessarily argue with that, although I know they have some injuries. I know, Watt's out. They have that rookie that they just put in. I think they're a good team. I think they're a well-coached team.
That's what makes them good. But outside of that, they're not a good team.
Agreed. I agree with that. So we're just evaluating how good their coaching can make bad players at this point. My biggest surprise to myself is the Panthers. Now, a lot of people know I've been really strong on the Panthers. I had them going, to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. So I'm not going to stand by that and say,
they'll figure it out.
I will admit when I'm wrong. And that team doesn't look anything close to an average team. If they get 8 wins this year, that's their height potential.
I think at this point, that's a good year for them. I mean, I didn't expect Baker to do this terrible up to this point. Maybe 1 or 2 games, but he hasn't really shown anything. I think they're kind of waiting for Sam Darnold to come back so that he can play for them, which is, that's lost all hope at that point.
Well, like I said a couple weeks ago, I don't think it's fair to put it on Baker. I don't think it's fair to put it on this team. I think Matt Rule's college system just doesn't work. They have too much talent on both sides of the ball to be this bad. And I'm going to blame the coach. And as long as Matt Rule is a part of the Carolina Panthers, I think the Carolina Panthers are a bad team. And
I mean, maybe, but
you're going to see a massive turnaround if they can get a guy who's a proven guy, because they don't need a new head coach. They don't need that young guy who's never done it before. They need to go find a guy who's respected in the league and get the best he can get out of this talent, because there's a lot of talent on that roster.
There is a lot of talent, but I think after Rule's gone, I think so is Mayfield and so is Darnold. Maybe not like the rest of the team, but I think those two guys will be gone.
Well, that's fine because I don't think they're
And I'm not sure they'll get another shot anywhere else.
I don't think they're I think Baker. I think Baker will be a journeyman, kind of like Geno. You'll forget about him for a couple years, and then he'll get another chance somewhere.
I hope so. I like him.